Today is all about understanding your perspective project and planning and understanding how you're going to work with it. So to begin with, I have a 2-point perspective project here, and on your worksheet, you're filling out your worksheet today and thinking about, is it 1-point perspective, is it 2? How do you know that? Also, what building is this? Do you recognize that? Do you know the street name on this? And also get to know your photo and make a plan. For your plan on this one, you might say things such as, I'm not going to draw the truck, I'm going to leave off the flagpole. Try to get specific about how you're going to arrange this and kind of more specific to your needs. Next, what you're going to do after you have the worksheet, you can go ahead and flip your paper over on the back. And on the back side, there is a square, and it's actually rectangle, and that rectangle is going to fit your photo. So you need to take your photo and go ahead and tape it down onto the back of your project. You'll notice also I have measured out where the center points are at the top and on the sides, and that's going to help you out with figuring out kind of orientation of your projects and where things kind of belong. So the next thing that you're going to do is you're also going to get a piece of tracing paper. With your tracing paper, you're going to go ahead and you want to leave that tracing paper just taped at the top, and I would tape it on both sides so it doesn't kind of swivel back and forth on you. So I'm going to go ahead and tape it on both sides here, and after you have that done, then what you're going to do is you're going to start tracing your project. And the tracing of the project kind of goes along with what you said you were going to do in your photo. So if you're, or on the worksheet on the front, so if you said you're not going to draw cars in your project, then don't draw the cars. And with this tracing, we don't need absolutely everything on here traced. What you're looking for is to get the major structure and the major understanding of your building. So when you start tracing this, you're going to be able to take this and kind of see, you're going to see your building, and that's going to be your plan of what you're going to do. All right, after you have some of the major tracing done, some of the big, I say bones of your project, some of the major walls and things, the next part that you're going to be doing is you're going to be figuring out where the vanishing point is. For some of you, that's going to be really, really obvious because it's going to be 1-point perspective. And in those projects, that just kind of should be the one place in your drawing where it all comes together. However, for some of you, if you have a 2-point perspective project, most common, you're going to have something called an inaccessible vanishing point, and that is what we did yesterday in the video with the hole that was coming through the piece of paper. So what we have for that is an inaccessible vanishing point, and let's figure out how that's going to be on our project. So if I take this, I need to make sure that I have some reliable lines. Reliable lines are going to be ones that have the kind of the movement. The top of a building is usually a reliable line. Also, like the top of a window is going to be a reliable line. I would say things that are not very reliable on this one, this is a good example of one that's not quite very reliable, because if you know this part, if you know this road right here, it's going to go on a very, very downhill. This is a fun downhill. So that's not going to be exactly reliable. So let's go ahead and for figuring out where your vanishing point is, let's find something that is more reliable. And you'll see this right here. This is a line right here at the bottom of the windows, and that's going to be a good line for me to be able to follow. So I'm going to take that. It's a little hard to see underneath my tracing paper. Lift that back up, put my pencil down, and I can see it is right there. So I'm going to go ahead, and this line right here is for my windows. That's going to go off in the distance here. Let's go ahead and take these lines down here, and this one is going to be one where I can find where my vanishing point is. This one, same thing. I'm going to take this, and as it comes down here, now where these lines are going to intersect, where these lines come together, that's going to be your vanishing point. And for this one, it's going to be right here off on the side. This is where these 3 points are pretty well coming together right off in the corner back here. So this right here is going to be my vanishing point. You need to do the same thing on the opposite side. So if you find several of your lines, your reliable lines, once again, the ground line, it could be reliable if it's on level ground, but there's not a whole lot of ground that's very level. So you want to make sure that you kind of figure that out with something that you think is more reliable, such as like the windows or like the top of a door or something. And you'll see that on this side, these are going to go back to a vanishing point, and this is ever so slightly off the page over here, so this would probably be about an inch off of my paper over here. I'll have to add like a little bit of extra paper.